you can make your customer feel that it's all about them, wow. Apologize with empathy. Now, if any of you have teenagers, you understand that this, sorry, is not an empathetic apology. Get your customer in a way that nobody else gets them. You will have them for life. It is that wow, getting to that wow, that makes customers loyal. And that's what we're really looking for. The fact is, your customers' needs are always changing. The world is changing. Maybe your products and services are changing. You need to adapt to what's happening. What I believe the best way to be adaptable is to change your mindset about what business you're in. So if I asked you that question, I'm not going to ask you to come up with an answer right now, but if I asked you the question, what business are you in? I want you to think about what your answer is. And I'll tell you a story. I had to make a cake for a friend of mine, and she wanted me, it was her birthday, and she wanted me to hand make the cake. That was very important to her. I didn't have any time, really, really busy. So I went into a holiday market, it's a local grocery store, and I went into their bakery section, and I looked at all these beautiful cakes, and I was thinking, how can I make any of these look like I made them? There was no way that I was going to pull it off that I had made any of these cakes. So I was sitting there looking and looking. The woman came up and said, how can I help you? And I said, you know, what I really need is just 2 cake layers so I can go home and decorate it. She said, well, let me check. I said, no, you're a bakery. Don't do that. That's fine. She said, no, let me just go ask. I said, okay. A couple of minutes, she comes back and says, what flavor, what size? She sold me 2 layers of cake. Now, if I had asked her what business she was in, and she said to me, well, I'm in the bakery business, she couldn't have done it, right? Bakeries sell cakes, completed cakes, beautifully made cakes. What business was she in? She was in the customer service business. So all of her responses were different because of the business she was in. I was at a restaurant my favorite restaurant in San Antonio on the Riverwalk called Pesca. And I was sitting and I was enjoying my meal. I was by myself. And the manager came up and started talking to me, and I said, I just got to tell you, I love your restaurant. It's the best restaurant. In fact, last time I was here, I tried to recreate the meal I had, and didn't really work. But I just really appreciate you. And he said, well, would you mind giving me your email address? And I said, no. He said, because I'll send you the recipe. Was that a wow? Absolutely. You want to hear the sad part of the story?
It still didn't taste any better.
No. That would have been really sad. He never sent it. Oh. So what? I know, it's really sad because it's such a great story and I love the story. But by promising somebody something and then not following through, it's worse than if he had never offered it. Now, I went into a place called Tuesday Morning. Has anyone ever been to Tuesday Morning? It's a nice place. I was there about 10 minutes before they closed. There was a line of people at the cash register, and a woman said to me, oh, I'm sorry, we're closed. Looked at my watch, looked at the clock, looked at the sign that said that they were closed in 10 minutes, and I said, no, really, I've got 10 minutes. She said, oh no, because once we're finished with all the people in line, it'll be 5 o'clock and we have to close our doors. Okay, I left. But you know me, I'm going to go and talk to the manager when I can. So I came back in another day and I talked to the manager and I said, you know, I'm a little confused. I was here, I was a customer 10 minutes before you closed and I was told to leave. And she said, oh yes, we have a long line, we don't let people come in. And I said, but your sign says that you close at 5. Maybe your sign should say, we close when we've dealt with all the customers we want to deal with. And she said, oh no, I couldn't say that. I said, well, that's what you're saying when you're kicking me out. And she said, you know what? Maybe I should call the national office, and find out what our hour policy is. I thought, well, that's a good idea. Maybe you should find out what your hours are. Surprisingly enough, the hours were till 5 o'clock, which meant all the customers that came in till 5 o'clock, then they shut the doors, and if they had to stay there till 5:30 or 6, that was absolutely fine. She was shocked to hear that. Really. So make sure that you're available to your customers. Nobody likes to hear no. Nobody likes to hear no, but we say it all the time. We tell people no, and I got to tell you, your customers never want to hear no. And what I say is to put everything through a very simple filter. If your customer asks you for something, and the first thing out of your mouth is going to be no, put it through a filter. Is it illegal? Is it immoral? Is it unethical? And if it is none of those three, then see what you can do. Illegal, immoral, unethical. Other than that, you should say yes. Or at least you should try to say yes. But no comes up into our language so often that it just comes out of our mouth. I've got a little exercise for you. What I want you to do, I've got sentences here that are negative. And I want you to think of ways, and you can do it again as a table, think of ways you can turn these negative statements into positive statements. We're not looking just to sell, sell, sell. We're looking to keep that customer, to have them be loyal to us, to have them, to me, what it is they are your best advertisement. I don't care how great the ad is you have in a newspaper or a magazine or on the radio or television. Nothing works as well as me coming over to you and saying, hey, listen, what you really need to do is to go over to this place because they're going to treat you well. Nothing you can have on an advertisement works as well as your friend, your relative, or even a total stranger saying, you need to do business with them. So you want to provide those kind of services that gets people talking about you.